Good morning, everyone. So it's the 6th of March. Time is flying, nearly the end of March. Not quite, but anyway, Ian's going to just make it around the corner by the end of March, which is good because the weather is definitely changing, and it's very interesting to see what's going on. And in fact, I'll just pop on here for a minute. We got the message last night from Abolish about his mainsail. He ripped it all the way from the mast all the way back to the leach, so it completely split in two. He's got it down, and he's now got to stitch that up and make it secure again for the rest of the voyage home. He does actually have a spare mainsail, but I forget the story. I think the main he's using at the moment was actually the main that Philippe Peche had. That was his primary main. And there was a second one, but the shape wasn't so good. So he's obviously keen to fix up the real one. And then he broke his runner. There's two running backstays. One of them failed, so he had to go up and down the mast a few times and sort that out yesterday. And in the conversation, it was clear he was very frustrated. He's all under control. Everything's fine. He's not really worried about anything, but it's getting boring. He's got to fix up all this stuff all the time. So that's all kind of interesting. And then the rest of it, if we come back into the tracker now, everyone else is pretty happy. Good caught some. Abolish caught some more water, I think, because it was raining over the top. And I've just got to come over here so I can see what's going on. All right. So for now, Ian has turned the corner of the exclusion zone. So he's free to head to Cape Horn, still 2,000 miles away. And that's going to take him a couple of weeks. So he's going to get around just before the end of March. But I can detect a difference in the weather already down here now. Anyway, at 8 o'clock, he's doing 5.8 knots and 154 miles in the day, which is really good. That's flying for Ian, so long may it last. And Jeremy over here, he's got plenty of breeze, doing 5.5 knots and 124 miles in the day. He's in some heavy weather, not big storms. Sea state, probably around 6 meters, 5 to 6 meters, and Ian's sea state's going to start increasing as well as he comes down. And I'll just push that up. I want to go back to the wind here. Some challenges ahead, and it's going to be very interesting to watch what happens. So I'm going to push this back so we can toggle their weather forward. Get rid of that, hit that there, and let's see what goes on. So you can see Ian's getting a good ride. He comes into this southwesterly, and the southwesterly that Jeremy had turns into a westerly before this next lot of breeze comes across. But he's sort of in an okay position because most of it's going over the top of him. You can see that. I worry about the size of the screen sometimes, but it's better to see that's up too close. You can see he's right on the edge of it. It is going to increase back to where he was, 24 hours ago. That's going to be 30 knots, probably gusting 40s. And the wind direction's got a little hiccup, but then it's into the westerly, which he's had, and it'll rotate around and die off when it comes to the southwest. So it should be okay, but the sea's certainly going to play up a bit for him. Ian up the top there is looking okay. He's just got this southwesterly. So what's that doing that for? That's not too bad. And then going through, so this is now 24 hours away. Jeremy's doing okay in that lighter breeze, and it starts to pick up. Now I'm going to go big again. Ian's going to go a bit lighter. I want to show you what's coming here for Jeremy mainly. Ian is not going to interact until it gets a bit further down. So this is now coming into 48 hours away. So there he is, 2 days away, so making reasonably good progress. And then it's going to start to pick up from the northwest for Jeremy. Ian is going to be down around here somewhere there. So he's still got a nice sailing breeze, which is all good. There goes the 8th. Going to pick up a bit, but by the time he gets there, Jeremy will be down over here a little bit, so that'll roll over pretty quick. Nothing to be too concerned about. The wind direction is the same, so the sea state's generally the same. The sea state is generally not too bad. Now, here's where it starts to get tricky. This is the first one on the 9th. Now, the 9th is 3 days out. He's going to be at least 300 miles ahead of this position and probably down a little bit. So he's going to be somewhere around about here, I'd reckon, by then. So we'll chop that off and get that started and put the cursor about where he's going to be at this time. and then the first lot's coming over. He's going to get hit with that, and there's not a lot of places he can go to avoid it, because you can see if his position is around about there. Why is okay, he's going to have to be there. There's nowhere for him to hide. So this is going to be probably 35 gusting 45, 50. So, and it's going to go for probably 24 hours if I hit this again. So this is the first one he's got on around about the 9th. So you can see that's going to impact him, and we'll give him weather updates, but it's too far out to predict exactly what's going to happen there, because it's changing. I mean, it's changed a little bit from yesterday to today. So yeah, it's too far away, but he's certainly got a blow coming. And then after that, he looks as if he might be pretty clear right through to the 14th. So, and if you look back at what we were suggesting yesterday, it's completely changed again today. So let's hope it lightens up and all the rest of it. He should be around by the 13th, 14th. So all interesting stuff. Jeremy's got some fun coming. But for now, the next couple of days is just heavy weather without being extreme storms. Okay, so now to Goog and Simon. Goog's moving around a bit, following the breeze, 3.5 knots. It's blowing 30, gusting 40 maybe on the beam, which is pretty bold. The sea's probably pretty interesting there. Simon's making a bit better speed, 5.6, because it's a bit more gentle, the breeze. He's got it on the beam, and that's looking pretty reasonable. The interesting thing is what's happening. I'm going to come back one, so I hope you can still all see this, just to follow the weather. There's this high pressure system here, a little one, that's basically delivering what's happening for Michael and Simon. And as we roll that through, and in fact, I don't want you to think about Abolish and Kirsten yet, because Simon's getting very close to Abolish. And in fact, we're already talking about it. So let's just measure it off. You can see while Abolish and Kirsten have been challenged with the weather up there, Simon's just been roaring along. He's 630 miles behind Abolish. That's only about 4 or 5 days. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens by the time they get to the equator. But Simon's going to be breathing down their neck, I reckon. And on Captain Goog, Simon's pulled away to about 260 miles now. Goog's doing okay, but Simon's definitely making tracks there. So that's another interesting sideline. So let's just look at Simon and Goog just to show you. I've gone back again here. We'll just roll it through. So Simon's got a reasonably good breeze there. He's still running off on port tack. And Michael's weather's going to increase, so he might have to run a little bit further to the east. But generally speaking, both of them have got a reasonable wind direction to keep heading out to the northeast. All right, and that's come through. We're coming through the next 24 hours. So there's 24 hours from now. So you can see they're going to be taking off in this direction, cutting across. So and certainly Simon will be making good speed. Goog might have to bear away a bit because he's got bigger seas coming with that. So not too bad. And then going forward again, they'll both come into the influence of while at the back, if Simon's leading up here, he'll start to get a little bit more on the nose and have to bear away. So, cheapest. Okay. So generally, Simon's going to be heading out to the northeast, which tactically is a good position to be in. Okay. So they're going to make ground. Both of them will make ground on Abolition and Kirsten, I think. And Simon's going to start to get very close. So all of a sudden, the conversation will be 3 people. Yes, Simon's in Chichester class with Howdens, but, it's still a boat race, you might say. And it'll be interesting to see how that evolves. So now coming back to Kirsten and Abolish, this is getting interesting again, because if we come back to real-time weather now, Kirsten's got breeze. Okay, it's popped up. She's doing 5.8 knots now, and you can see there's a slight one. I want to show you the big picture, but the close-in picture as well. So there's a breeze coming from the northwest. She's hooked up to that. You can see she had a bit of confusion down here. And now she's doing really good speed, and she'll continue on that course while the breeze is there. Abolish has got an okay breeze. He did his work yesterday. He might still be working on the main, but he's doing 6.3 knots, and he's got a southeasterly, which is pretty interesting. But how long is it going to last? This is the big issue. So we'll start toggling this through now. The southeasterly is still with Abolish. This is coming up to 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, and Kirsten's running out of breeze, so she's going to slow down. But as the breeze forms up for Abolish, look what happens. He's now entered the route. So this is about midnight tonight. So in about 12 hours or so, a bit more, Abolish free ride is over, and he's now entered some headwinds brought about by this little one first off. So you can see the breeze hooking around there. But overall, if I pan back, and Kirsten's going slow at that point, all right? So she's up here somewhere. If I pan back now, you'll see the picture for the future. It looks very interesting indeed, because there's obviously the trade winds are starting to form up now. You can see this solid green southeasterly trade winds. When they hit the coast, they turn around and come down. So this is now Abolish's big challenge. She's inshore a little bit compared to Kirsten, still a respectable distance. But when you've got the headwinds like this, you've got two choices: either head out this way or go inshore. And usually the temptation is to start working your way inshore like this. So that may be the future for Abolish. We'll just have to wait and see. So Kirsten, tactically, if she gets forced to go in that direction, because she's further out to the east, she's in a better position to ride that potential headwind. But what's she going to get? So let's just have a look at this and toggle it through. You can see the breeze coming up from behind her here. All right, this is really interesting. So she's all of a sudden hooked on to the top, the northeastern corner of this high underneath. So she's got a southeaster, which is just perfect. So she'll start to move quite well. And this is just after 24 hours away. So within 24 hours, she might get this, and see how it's moving up. This whole band of southeasterlies is moving up, which is the center of this high moving up in a northeasterly direction. That's just she's going to ride that wave. Once she gets it, she'll ride that wave as long as it keeps happening. And it looks like it's going to happen for quite some time. Let's see what's happening there. Now, all the time this is happening, look where Abolish is. He's got a headwind, right? So he's going to be tacking, but Kirsten's going to be riding the start of the southeasterly trades, because this little high is coming, is going to jump up the top. I'll keep riding it through, and that's going to push her up into the trades. It's going to start to go light, but there could be just enough to keep her going here and keep her riding up. That's on the 9th. That's in 3 days, in nearly 3 days' time. So if she can keep that going, so she's got 3 average days of 80 miles, 8 3s 24, 240 miles ahead. 240 miles ahead is going to be up here somewhere. She still may be riding that. So she could be in for a big kick. Meanwhile, Abolish is going to be tacking. So it's an open game at the moment for both of them. But certainly I think Kirsten's looking a little bit better now than she was yesterday, because that big hollow of no wind seems to be overridden by this little high that's coming up and joining up with the two. So then, just for the hell of it, we will play this out a few more days and just see what it looks like, because there's the trades, and this is what she wants to get to. It's the same for Abolish. This is exactly where Abolish wants to get to. It's starting to go light, but boy, if she can just hang on to this, just stay up here, which she should be, she might just make it up there. And if she does, it's exactly what she needs. So she certainly won't be down here. She'll be on that. So only time will tell. Okay, but that's really about it. Abolish is, let's hope his mainsail holds together. He hasn't mentioned his wind vanes, so that must still be working well. He didn't mention that at all. Just lots of other little frustrations. So all part of the course. That's really about it. If I come back here, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks very much. Oh, I've hidden. Wrong one.